Republicans debut tax bill, Trump seeks first win. Washington, Reuters. Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives unveiled a tax bill on Thursday that would cost $1.51 trillion and deliver deep tax cuts as promised by President Donald Trump, setting off a race in Congress to give him his first major legislative win. In what would be the largest overhaul of the U.S. tax system since the 1980s, Republicans called for slashing the corporate tax rate to 20% from 35%, cutting tax rates on companies' foreign profits and on individuals and families. Congressional passage of the legislation, which would affect nearly every U.S. company and family, was far from certain. Some business groups quickly came out against it, and Democrats swiftly condemned it as a giveaway to the rich. Contentious provisions will test Republicans, who control the White House and both chambers of Congress, but have been unable to deliver major legislative achievements for Trump since the businessman-turned-politician became president in January. A number of provisions in the bill would hit taxpayers in Democratic-leaning states hardest, such as rolling back deductions for state and local taxes and cutting in half the popular mortgage interest deduction. Lobby groups for the real estate industry and small businesses condemned the legislation. Titled the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, it would benefit wealthy Americans by lowering their income taxes, cutting corporate and other business taxes, phasing out over 6 years the estate tax on inherited assets and repealing the alternative minimum tax. This is a very important and special moment for our country, for all Americans. Are we going to let the defenders of the status quo win and see our country continue down this downward spiral? Asked Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan, despite data showing 8 straight years of economic growth. Meeting with Ryan and other key House Republicans, Trump told the lawmakers he was counting on them to maintain the momentum for tax cuts. He repeated his request that Congress send him the legislation to sign into law by the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday on November 23. That is an ambitious timetable for such a long, multifaceted proposal that will face a ferocious lobbying battle among business sectors affected by the bill and determined opposition from most Democrats in Congress. The bill presented by the tax-writing House Ways and Means Committee would consolidate the current number of tax brackets to 4 from 7, 12%, 25%, 35% and 39.6%. An earlier Republican tax outline had called for cutting the top rate for the highest earners to 35%. In the face of criticism for cutting top earners' taxes, the top 39.6% bracket was restored, but the way it is applied in the bill could represent a tax cut for married, high-income earners filing joint returns. On housing, the National Association of Home Builders said the bill would damage home prices and punish urban homeowners. "We're concerned if enacted, this bill will throw us back into another housing recession," Jerry Howard, the group's president, said in an interview. The group said the provision in the bill capping the mortgage interest deduction for future home purchases at $500,000, half the current amount, was unacceptable. The bill would also repeal the existing deduction for state and local income and sales taxes and cap the deduction for state and local property taxes at $10,000. Those provisions would hammer Americans in high-tax states such as California, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Illinois. The National Federation of Independent Business, a powerful small business lobby, came out against the bill. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the largest lobbying group in Washington for large companies, backed the Republican tax package. With Democrats solidly opposed, Republicans can ill afford to lose many votes from within their own ranks as they aim to pass the bill in the coming weeks, especially in the Senate, where they have only a slim majority. Billionaire buddies. Ultimately, what the American people really get from this tax plan is a huge bill for the debt incurred to pay for tax breaks that line the pockets of Donald Trump personally along with his billionaire buddies. Like a Trump University degree, it is phony, said Texas Democratic Representative Lloyd Doggett. Ways and Means Committee Chairman Kevin Brady said the bill as currently drafted would add $1.51 trillion to the deficit over a decade, $100 billion more than allowed under a budget passed by Congress that would let the measure pass the House and Senate with no Democratic votes. Brady predicted that final legislation would be within the $1.5 trillion limit. Congress's Joint Committee on Taxation estimated late on Thursday that the bill would reduce federal tax